October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It affects men also. And here to tell us about his personal journey, a patient of RadNet, we welcome Renee Baldry to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome, Renee. Thank you for joining us. It's a sensitive topic,
Yes.
and I know that it takes a lot of guts to come out and talk about it, but we certainly appreciate that you are. Renee, have you had a family history of cancer that you're aware of?
Yes, I have had a family history. My maternal grandmother, at the age of 60 in 1972, passed away from metastatic breast cancer. My mother passed away in April of 2022, metastatic breast cancer.
Is that right?
And her younger sister, my maternal aunt, she is a breast cancer survivor. She had early detection. They found the lump, and she basically had a lumpectomy, and she's a survivor now 11 years.
Oh, wonderful. We're glad to hear that. What were the early signs that made you aware that something was going on?
The early signs for me were a little weird or different because during COVID, I had made a promise to myself that I was going to do my age in push-ups every day. So I had pretty much around that time frame, 2020, 2021, I was doing all the kind of Supermans and spiders and everything. And then when my mother took a turn for the worse, I kind of stopped a lot of things and focused on her. And when my body started to change from not being as firm from working out, I noticed that there was a non-symmetrical kind of firmness in my left side that was no longer in my right side. And
so this was after the muscle tone.
This is after the muscle tone started going away,
right?
And it was still firm. And I was just like, why is this pec still, fairly formed? And so I felt it. And first thing I went to my wife, because her family had a history of breast cancer as well. And I said, this doesn't feel right. And she goes, you need to get that checked out. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor sent me to get to RadNet to get an ultrasound.
Okay.
And the doctor at RadNet said, I'm going to resubmit and ask your doctor, can I do a mammogram first before I do an ultrasound? He says, I just want to know. He says, we just need to check this out. And did the mammogram and the ultrasound, and they determined, said, we found some masses. We're not sure. They said, sometimes it's fatty tissue in men, but we're going to just do a biopsy to find out.
Okay.
And in July of 2023, I remember distinctly because it was like a week before I'm a closet nerd going to Comic-Con that the biopsy came back and they said that you have cancer. And he said, but pause. He says, it may be rare for you as a man, but we're prepared to help you.
That's peace of mind.
It really did. I mean, it put me at ease.
I mean, you go from being in sort of this shocked response to then, okay, everything's going to be all right.
Yes.
I'm in really good hands.
Yes.
Right? So beyond that, how did you, driving home, I mean, or telling your wife, how did you feel about that initial diagnosis?
I was shocked and I was scared. Just from so many different levels. I mean, just not knowing when you hear the word cancer, I thought of things like, okay, you think of stages, you think of how many duration of months to live, and having just gone through just literally a year and a couple of months of watching my mother fight and struggle and saying she was not going to let it take her in terms of the person that she was.
Take her spirit.
Yeah, so it was a lot of things going through my mind, and then but by nature, I'm very driven. I'm a strategic planner, so I really focus on tasks and build, put together milestones. So like, okay, this is going to be my ultimate plan. This is my ultimate project to manage.
And did you have a baseline? I mean, did they tell you, are you stage 1, stage 2? Did you know at that point?
Actually, I didn't. And the doctors didn't tell me. They said, we want you to focus on your treatment. We want you to focus on your journey, not on a stage or because we know what we should be doing. So we don't want you to get sidetracked or get depressed or really not focus on the plan. So I really didn't know the stage until after I had the mastectomy.
So as a man, we know that breast cancer is sadly a common occurrence in women. But as a man, did you have a lot of faith in the doctors that they could treat a man as well as they could treat a woman? Just because it's much more common in women, right?
Yes, you're correct. I had a faith in the doctors, but the doctors pointed out to me right from the beginning that very few men get it, but even fewer African men get it. African American men get it. So as a black man, there wasn't a lot of data.
Right.
And I think, and as you know, with breast cancer treatments, they look at the numbers, they look at the data from previous patients and how it's going to work with other patients based upon that data. So there wasn't a lot of data. So, but I was still confident because, I mean, when it boils right down to it, I mean, we're all humans. So, sure. I mean, there's certain, things that we share that are innate is in our bodies. So I had trust in the doctors.
Right. So what has your treatment been like?
So my treatment started with the first plan was to try and shrink the tumors down because they thought that by shrinking it down, it would not be as a drastic mastectomy. Okay. And so after the first treatment, after the first 6 cycles, I didn't make all 6. I made 5 because I had basically a stomach ulcer and I had some bleeding, and they were like, okay, we're not gonna go further. We think we have enough information and enough results to go on with the mastectomy. So I had the mastectomy, and they took out some of the breast tissue as well as 12 lymph nodes. And I thought, my goodness, and the doctor said, Dr. Burnett said, well, you have 24, so you still have some left, So I was reassured there. And after the mastectomy, there was still some, after the CT, the PET scans, there was, we're still kind of looking at something might have metastasized in my pelvic area, but it's over the last couple of months, it's actually not as active. Okay. So the treatment is working, and now I'm just on a lighter, kind of like a chemo light, as my oncologist likes to call it, and the hormone suppressants for 5 years.
Okay. Wow, what a journey. What can you tell? What type of advice, or what would you say to other men who are watching, who may be concerned that this could be an issue for them as well?
I would say if you feel something, say something and get it checked out. I was surprised at how I was not treated any different than the ladies coming into RadNet, but it does feel weird when you're the only guy there.
I'm sure it does.
But you know that everybody's on the same journey.
Right.
And everybody's on task to try and work towards that breast cancer survivorship and that cure.
Absolutely.
And it's achievable.
And early detection,
yes,
helps. RadNet is there to help you through the process. And that's critical. That's key, right? It's that early detection.
Yes, I mean, I would not be sitting here as composed and being able to articulate my journey without the support there.
Well, Renee, we certainly appreciate you coming on to share your journey with us, and we wish you the best of luck, and I know that you are in excellent hands.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. You're watching This Day on Village TV. We'll be right back.